Natalia, could you please tell us a little bit about what you do? I would love our community to hear more about you.
Sure. So, in one sentence, I help all sorts of experts. This could be coaches or consultants or people with any kind of other expertise. I help them to turn LinkedIn into their core marketing and lead generation machine. So, people do that in order to get more visibility, to have a bigger social impact, to make more money or get better clients. And I wear many different hats when I do that. So I do that as a coach, as an author, I have online courses, and I'm also a keynote speaker. Nowadays, it's more an e-keynote speaker. So you can also book me for webinars and masterclasses.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So when did you start, by the way, working on LinkedIn or with LinkedIn? When did you figure out that this is something that, people should turn to if they want to, excel in their careers?
It was 7 years ago when I quit my own job or my old life and my old career, and I asked myself, what on earth do I want to do with my knowledge? And I realized that what I did before didn't make me happy. So it's a very long story. I cut it short. At the age of 29, I realized that I always lived based on the illusion that, oh, I'll be happy in my next job and I'll be happy in the next thing, until I realized, what if there's no next, and what if the art of living lies in being happy in the now, whatever that means, because a lot of people talk about it. So I quit my stable job and I went on a self-imposed sabbatical. And during that sabbatical, I asked myself a lot of questions. What is success? What is happiness? What do people that I look up to do in a proper way? And I was always fascinated by the American way of living. And I realized that the North Americans, let's assume that the typical Northern American exists, they are incredibly good at marketing themselves. And I just love how they use social media. So I decided to study all of that, people that I find really amazing, and to see if what they preach and teach also works for me. And I realized, Instagram, nice, but Facebook, same. YouTube, I was not self-confident enough to film videos back then. Twitter, I personally found too aggressive, and that almost was everything. So the last chance that I literally had was LinkedIn. And I gave my best, and I literally failed myself up and experimented myself on that platform.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you for sharing your story. I think this is a nice to hear, guys, if when you're watching this, and if some of you are not happy at their jobs, you can take a chance and change anything you want. And just this is amazing how you figured out what you want to do by just like focusing on what you like the most. Yeah, like you like the way Americans market themselves. Yeah, I actually love marketing as well. Being a founder, this is a big part of my job, and being an entrepreneur, this is a big part of my job. So, but unfortunately, with the tech community, with the tech professionals, sometimes I even have to persuade people that they need to market themselves. Actually, the very first lesson that I give on my course is how to personal pitch yourself, So sometimes you do have to tell people that, yeah, LinkedIn or any other, self-promotional tool is really important. So when it comes to LinkedIn, Natalia, what are the 5 things that you would say you need to change or to do on your LinkedIn profile to make it stand out?
So first of all, understand that your LinkedIn profile is not an online CV. It is a landing page or a web page. And for everybody who's like, nah, what does that mean? See it as a shop window. So you want to make sure that when people walk by your shop window, they're like, whoa, what did I just see? And they like it, and they stand there and they, literally take their nose and they press it flat on that window. So you want to make sure that people spend a lot of time on your profile. How do you do that? Number 2, by sharing your story. Tell people why they should work with you, what makes you unique, why you decided to do what you do. Give me a few testimonials. So use the info section as an area where you tell your story. Third aspect, invest in a proper profile picture and background image, because I see a lot of people who don't have anything at all, or something cut out, or a terribly lit selfie or anything like that. This will not work, because it's all about the first impression. And it's very, very difficult to adjust a first wrong impression. So that's why I would make sure that you invest a little bit of money and make sure that the background image and your profile picture are professional yet approachable. So nobody wants to see a terrible picture from the 90s like, I'm so serious now, with your arms crossed above the chest. This is, again, 1990s. It's 2021 nowadays. So find the sweet spot. What else is important? That you are creative with your headline. So underneath your name, you have the opportunity to mention in literally 2 rows what it is that you actually do. And a lot of individuals just use their title that they have, and then there's the word at, and then they say the company that they work at. So I am an IT consultant and so consultancy. Boring. Mention what you do, for whom, and what the end result is. Or use keywords that people would use to find you. Make it different. Maybe even use one term that is a little bit crazy, that is a little bit different, so people remember you. It's all about standing out. And then maybe one last aspect, because I could talk about LinkedIn profile optimization for an hour.
Yeah, it's
What is
so
very
interesting. I mean,
important.
I'm ready to take notes. That's perfect.
You can watch this later on. So maybe one last aspect is that you update your contact information. So make sure that you mention the right city and country and telephone number if you want to leave your telephone number, or you mention a blog or a web page or whatever, or the landing page that you want to drive people to, because when you use it as a shop window, you want to make sure that people eventually also buy something, or that they reach out to contact you. And if people don't have any way of contacting you and don't want to do that on LinkedIn for some reason, then you invested all of this energy for nothing. So make sure that these aspects are also up to date.
Yeah, so this is like the standard, more or less standard, sales pitch when you like introduce yourself, how you can be useful, and call to action. Actually, you're right about this call to action, the contact information and things. This is something that people fail to do, and then they don't have the result that they want. Yeah, I have another question. When talking about seriousness on LinkedIn, I saw in one of your videos you were like totally not supporting being serious on LinkedIn. Like who you said, like, who said that you have to be serious? But what is this? Like you're basically walking on an eggshell here, right? This is the edge. How not to be like super fun or funny? At the end of the day, like when I see my LinkedIn contact base, I have a lot of Americans there, and I see that some of them are really like, so to speak, corporate in the way they communicate, and like, the elaborate turns of speech. Others are more relaxed about it. So like, what would be your say here? How do you position yourself not to be like super, super informal?
So I think there are 2 things that we need to address here. Serious and being professional is not the same. A lot of people believe that you're only professional when you're serious. If that was the case, no comedian would be a professional, which doesn't make sense, because comedians, this is their job, to be not serious, to be funny, and they make good money if they know how to market themselves. So there's a big difference between being serious and professional. Define for yourself what professional means, which then brings me to the second point. You need to find what works for your brand based on the needs and expectations of your target audience. Now, yes, you shouldn't please others and whatever, but we're on LinkedIn, yes, to inspire people to have fun, but also to sell something and to help other people. And we do that based on a market need. So whatever you communicate, the stories that you tell, the content that you share should support your audience and should resonate with your audience. So design a brand and communicate in a way that your target audience resonates with that. For my target audience, a lot of people are still ridiculously asleep. They are still in this typical corporate hamster wheel, which I used to be a part of. So I actually very often pretend to be silly, or pretend to be stupid, or pretend to be a little bit gaga, to stand out and to literally shake them and to show them, listen, you don't need to be an alien or cold or bitter or super serious to make a living and to live a good life. Actually, look at me. I'm making an idiot out of myself and I have a better life, I'm more successful, and very likely I also earn more money than you. So this is a trigger point that I actually tap into to question the whole reality and perception of what is possible in a career for people who really need that nudge or that impulse to then also change and to become their own best version of themselves.
That's amazing, Natalia. This is quite a coaching approach. I love it. I love it because I believe that unless we use this coaching or psychological, things when teaching people, it's not going to work. I mean, I'm using that as well when teaching English, and it's like I have amazing results because people, like you said, they need this they need someone to shake them up a little bit so that they wake up. So when you said, I just want just one correction here. When you said brand, you're talking about personal brand, because I don't want our community to think that we're talking about promoting a company on LinkedIn. This is all about personal branding, and a lot of people still believe that personal branding is only for people like company owners, maybe bloggers, etc. But I believe that personal branding can help a tech professional like software engineer a lot, and will definitely make their life easier in terms of looking for a job. Have you ever worked with a software, maybe engineers or people from tech, helping them, promote themselves on LinkedIn or build a personal brand? How, if yes, could you share maybe some cases what you guys did?
So in my tribe, we're over 80 people right now. We have people from all over the world, from all sorts of different industries. So we definitely also have two people out of the IT field, out of the tech field. And for these people, it tends to be a little bit extra hard to open up, to open their heart, and to share their story, and to create content, and to use language which is non-techy. I have the feeling that a lot of these individuals, they are so much in their bubble that they find it difficult to write things in a way or tell story in a way that somebody who is not 100% in this world understands it. So I always say, write things or explain things in a way as if I would be a 5-year-old, and use examples that really make sense to me. It starts with your LinkedIn profile. Like all of these terms that you put in there, nice, great, because the right people will find you. But besides that, also explain to me in normal words what it is. Because if I like you and somebody in my network has a specific problem that you solve, if I cannot say in one sentence what you do, I'm not going to refer you. So you're losing out on job opportunities, on business opportunities, because you can't clearly express who you are and what you do. A personal brand or a personal branding strategy is nothing else but a communication strategy. So clearly say who you are, what you do, for whom. That is very important. And we all have a brand, if we like it or not, because I think it was Paul Václavic who said, you cannot not communicate. So based on that, I always say you cannot not have a personal brand. You have one. And it's your decision if you have a sucky, terrible, unclear one, or if you actively choose to steer your personal brand and to tell your story and to make sure that you serve the right audience through thought leadership content, through educating them, through solving their problems. And this way you build a relationship. And then eventually when people need you, hire you, want to have you as a freelancer or permanently, they will think of you, or they will automatically contact you because they have seen you pop up in their newsfeed over and over again.
Yeah, this is so true. So I would like to summarize here a very important topic, a very important thing that you mentioned, that for tech professionals, it's very important to think about the other party, that the other party may be non-techy. I keep telling this when I teach how to make presentations and demos to clients, because that's another pain point that we have here, being too techy, but instead switching to storytelling. I'm a big fan of storytelling. I use storytelling in my Instagram story. I use storytelling when writing, text. So this is something that is definitely out there, especially in 2021. Absolutely. So when we when we talk about, like you said, that you can create your personal brand, or you can shift, the direction and try to educate your audience or share something with your audience. Let's give some recommendation to tech people right here, what they can well, it's not blogging, but what they can write about, let's say on LinkedIn, to get noticed, or just like to be out there. The thing is that we're not talking about being the center of attention. Maybe not everyone needs to be the center of attention. We're talking about just being present there and exist. Yeah, right. So like having your profile and like posting once in a while. So what can you recommend they should start with, like posting or writing about?
So the first step, the easiest step, is usually using third-party content. So you read an article that you liked, you watched a documentary that you liked, you seen this piece of content that was amazing. Instead of just reposting it, write 2 or 3 sentences above that. What did you like? Do you agree? Why do you agree? Why don't you agree? What is so inspiring or cool about it? So this would be a very simple start. And if you do that once per week, fantastic. Another relatively simple way of starting is to strategically comment, as I call it. Gary Vaynerchuk calls it the $1.80 strategy. So find the LinkedIn profiles or company pages of people that you want to work for, and make sure that you strategically comment under the post, and not with, oh my God, I love this so much, this is so inspiring, yay, but write something intelligent, in the sense that you share your own story, you say why you agree, you say why you disagree in a respectful way. Don't be a troll. Something, 2 or 3 sentences, and through that you're going to get a lot of visibility, and new people are going to approach you and send out contact requests. If you want to take it one step further, you start with something that, again, Gary Vaynerchuk calls document your journey. So he says there's a difference between document and create. And don't start with creating, because that can be overwhelming for a lot of people. And no, you don't need a $100,000 budget for your first movie, and it's not going to be a Hollywood movie, but you start with documenting your journey. And for that, you only need your phone and open eyes and open ears. And a lot of people don't have open eyes and open ears because they're on the phone all the time. So make the active, or choose that you are a content creator, and walk through life thinking, could I write about this? Oh, that's interesting. Could I share this with my audience? And always come out of the perspective, what can I teach my audience? If you want to work for this company, and you read their reports or you followed them on media, and you know that they are tackling this issue, or this is still something that they need to, I don't know, improve. Why don't you write an article about, if you would work for that and that company, you would try this and this and that, or you talk about this industry, what's the problem in this industry? So through your content, see your content as maybe a first project that you work for free, and the right people are going to find you and resonate with you, maybe even offer you a job, although they don't have vacancy, because you keep on showing up and because you show your expertise. And this is what it's all about. Actually, one of my clients who works in the IT sector, I had a call with her yesterday, and she's like, Natalia, I didn't want to change my job. I like my job, but I created so much content, and now they offered me this amazing job, and they pay me double compared to my audience, like my current customer. And I'm like, I'm speechless. I was like, told you.
Amazing. Yeah, definitely. I would like to add here that you have to be consistent with your content. Like personally, I mean, I wish I had started blogging earlier, not 2 years ago, but even like in 2 years, there is a great result over there. So yeah, you have to be consistent and persistent. If you started doing something, you have to keep on doing it. Amazing. Great. So Natalia, you're from Germany, right?
Mm-hmm.
As we are still the language school, I would like to ask you about the language situation in Germany. How well do people speak English? How important is it for them? Because your English is amazing. I thought that you were probably living in London or somewhere. Yeah, maybe not.
No, I'm German, but I was dancing a lot, and I was dancing on a professional level. So we always had international dancing coaches. So that was one of the reasons why I improved my English relatively fast. And when I was 23, I left Germany, and I live in the UAE now for 13 years. So that's the reason why I improved my English.
But so you speak it all the time, yeah?
Exactly. I have a lot of friends from Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, but nevertheless, almost everybody speaks English here. I'm so much out of Germany for such a long time. I have no clue, to be honest. But based on the conversations that my friends are sharing with me or the insights, the modern generation or the young generation, almost everybody speaks English. And when I look at my LinkedIn content, I would also say that more than 85% understand it and can read it and like it. Less than 20% say, well, Natalia, could you also write more content in German? And these people are usually in a very specific, let's say, age gap, where English was not the norm yet. So
I
this is
mean,
how I
they're
would look at
older
it.
generation,
Yeah,
would you?
exactly. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's the good point for our community here, because still English in Eastern Europe is not as, like, you know, people don't speak it as much as we want to, and this is one of the biggest problem for foreign clients, because they usually, when we talk about tech sector, they love the tech stack of you know, Eastern European engineers, but the problem is communication, you know, lack of I mean, lower level of English plus soft skills. So this is something like branding yourself and like creating personal brand. This is another thing that can help you get closer to foreign clients over there. Yeah. And Natalia, thank you so much for this interview. I was really happy to have you here. You're an excellent keynote speaker. This was like a LinkedIn lesson technically. I'm sure your course is fantastic. I would love to share with our community your course information. If you would like to you know, introduce the course, I will definitely attach the link under the video.
Sure. So we have recently created a guide that we call LinkedIn's Perfect Five. Give me a second. I have it here.
I think I
So
saw it.
there you go.
I saw the video. Yeah.
Exactly. Posted about it again today on LinkedIn. So it's basically a guide that takes you by the hand and guides you through the 5 important steps that you need to do on LinkedIn. Not on your LinkedIn profile. We talked about just your LinkedIn profile today, and your LinkedIn profile is one of 5 different steps that you have to take in order to make the most out of this tool. And you decide how far you go and how much time you invest into it. But what you need to do is you need to clearly position yourself. You need to expand your network. You need to create content. You need to start conversations with people, and you need to get some publicity, because through that you're going to get more credibility and visibility, and that's what you want. It doesn't matter if you're an entrepreneur or if you work for somebody. This is a formula that has helped not only hundreds but thousands of people from all over the world. So yeah, check it out.
Absolutely, absolutely, guys, check it out. I will leave the link under the video. Thank you, Natalia, very much for this interview. It's been very, very fun and useful. I think I will also dare to invite you for another one very, very
Thanks.
soon.